Well, I just won't master it how I usually did because I'm sure there's gonna be some background noise on mine too.
Yeah.
This new audition that they just came out with is freaking me out. They changed the UI completely,
Oh, yeah, I hate when they do that.
and then they patched it and then changed it again. And I was just like, what? What? It's
Thanks,
much
Adobe.
nicer, and I like it way better.
Hmm.
But it's one of those things where it's sort of like you fire it back up after a minor patch with like I don't know bug fixes, and then the UI's different. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What? Good times. All right. Oh, let me retweet all this business.
Google.com. All right.
That one and that one.
You sent out show notes?
No. Let me do that.
Cool.
I don't have any news stories.
Again?
Yeah, it's just like nothing crazy is happening this week.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just that time of year, though.
Yeah, just too many games, not enough news stories.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to kick this thing off?
Yes.
What's that Knobs' name here? Wah, wah.
Yeah, that hasn't happened in a while.
No. I told him, I was like, man, I know how it goes with being suddenly called into work, so
Yup.
certainly not going to be mad about that.
Well, and with him, it could be like, what? Oh, we need you to come in and operate this giant piece of machinery.
Yeah.
So.
You're the only one that knows how to do it. Why? All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, starting in 3, 2. Oh, you'll have to do show notes too, or I mean,
Okay.
titles.
All
We
right.
got Jay-Z back this week, so we'll be good.
Sweet.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Going around the room, we have the Hannah,
Hi.
and that's it.
Small room today.
See you next
Small
week.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knobs had to get called away to work kind of at the last minute, so he won't be able to join us this week. But, you know, if anyone understands how that goes, the Hannah and I do.
Yeah. It's sort of we're sort of always, the IT profession is really just like, yeah, you work these hours, but you also work all of the hours.
Yeah, but also you work like 9 to 5, but also how about the rest of them?
Yeah, just make sure you have your phone on you, and can you have chat open,
Yeah.
and can you have your email on you, and
Yeah, turn your
what's your
volume up.
number, and what's your Google Voice number?
Yeah.
And do you have Hangouts?
Do you have a house
Do you
phone?
have AIM? Do you have
Skywriting?
yeah.
We're going to send you to a class to read smoke signals. And you pay for it. Zing!
Of course.
All right, let's get right into what you've been playing, Hannah.
I have been playing like the same 4 games
Oh, man.
for like the past month and a half.
Okay.
So I played a little bit more Metal Gear Solid 2. I got past the tanker. I love how crazy that whole thing ends.
Yeah, man. The gift
with-
of the silver tongue.
Yeah, and then just the arm, the
Brother.
crazy, the craziest part of that series is that.
I just, like, I can't believe they even carry that into 4.
Yes,
Like, they even explain it.
everywhere.
Like, you're in that
It's-
part
yeah.
in the tanker, no, in the plant where, it's the hostage room where you're listening with the microphone. It's just like, man, you're explaining this. That's crazy. You don't need to do that.
Absolute madness. Did my favorite thing in that game, which is run around on the roof of the shell when you get in it with Raiden, and slip on the bird poop.
Yes.
Because it's always funny.
That's the best part.
And I remember the first time it happened, I was like, "What? Why did he?" And then I like looked in first person. I was like, "Is that
bird poop?
All right.
I love
Yeah.
that, like, squeak, squeak, squeak noise it makes when you slip.
Yeah,
Oh,
'Cause,
it's
you
so
know,
good.
that's the sound a skeleton suit makes apparently.
Yeah. But between that and, like, calling the colonel when you get peed on by that one guy,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
man. Metal Gear, like, and what's
that.
crazy
Just
is most people would say, like, oh, you get peed on and you slip on bird poop. I'm not going to play Metal Gear. And it's like, well, no, that's not. That's certainly it's funny because like the game
It's just
itself is
Easter
really
eggs.
good, but the
Yeah,
200 other things you can do on top of it are all crazy.
yeah, super super crazy. But yeah, God, guys, if you haven't played the Metal Gear series, just if you don't want to play it, just watch, pay the $5 to Giant Bomb and watch Metal Gear Scanlan because it's
Yeah,
the best.
it's
It's
it's an accurate recreation of what you would feel like if you were to play it for the first time.
Yeah, it's 100%. That's exactly what happens. I still
Yeah.
remember the first time I played Metal Gear Solid 2 originally. When you get to the end and you're inside of, is it GW or is it Arsenal Gear? I can never get that. I think they're the
Arsenal
same
gear.
thing. You're inside Arsenal Gear, which
The
houses
GW is the
GW.
AI.
Yes.
That's yeah. There you go.
Okay. And it's like 4 in the morning. My friend lent me his like the big fat PS2.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I get a call from the colonel, and I'm running around this thing naked as Raiden, like you
Yeah.
do. And I get the I need scissors 61 call.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, that was weird.
This is the
And then I,
weirdest.
and then I get the call where the colonel tells you to turn off the game.
Yes.
And I started approaching the TV set and like, okay, I guess this is some sort of X-Men thing where I gotta hit reset or turn off
Or
the
like
game.
MGS1 where you have to switch your controller ports. You're like, I mean, I've done
Yes.
weird stuff before, so maybe I have to.
Yeah, and I like was inches away, and I was just sort of went, okay, maybe I should save and
Yeah.
go to bed.
It's sort of
Maybe I
like,
should
wait a
sleep.
minute.
I actually did end up finishing it in that same session. I was like, I'll just say next time I get to a
You're
checkpoint, I'll
so
say, and
close.
then because well, yeah, because at that point, if you stop, it's just like, oh god, all right, I'm just gonna have to do all this stuff, and you
Yeah.
rush through, and you get the sword, which is so much fun at the end of that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Metal Gear Solid, good stuff.
Man.
Everyone should play this game and either love it or hate it. I don't care, just play it.
Yeah.
I also played a bit more of Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. I finally got to. I'm at a point where I've almost unlocked that third tier of abilities,
Nice.
which makes the game a lot easier from what I can tell of those abilities. Like, oh, hey, you get your execution combo at 5 hits instead of 8.
Nice.
So, you can hit 2 guys instead of 5 guys and actually take somebody out.
Oh man, I gotta play that game more.
Yeah, I really wish they would fix the remote play on it because I would be playing it a lot more if it had that
Yeah.
capability to switch those triggers around. Because right now it's unplayable
Yeah.
unless I rig some solution up that I can have physical buttons on the back of that thing.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. I didn't play a ton more of that. I did like I got through like the Golem missions and like the other couple of missions. I got Rat Bag up a couple of tiers
Nice.
into the I think you get some sort of that's when you get the War Chief missions.
Oh,
When they're
okay.
like kill these 4 War Chiefs, and it's like okay, that's when you're really in the game.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
I like Ratbag as a character. I think
He's pretty great.
I think he's funny. He has a great accent. Like I don't know what I like about him. I
love that
everything
he's
you're saying
scummy.
about this game reminds me. Hey, I should probably go back and play more of that.
Yeah, like I said, I really want that remote play thing fixed.
Yeah, that's
I
a bummer
really-
that they didn't remap that stuff.
It seems like they just went, all right, remote plays in, and they just didn't think about it any further
Yeah.
because, like, even a cursory test of that would say, hey, guys, this game's
can't-
impossible
Yeah,
to
I
play.
can't actually
right now."
play this thing.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting, there's some, like, suction cup buttons that they sell for phones
Oh,
that
yeah.
act as, like, a sort of an over, like, instead of having to deal with, like, physical controls.
Yeah.
And with like the virtualized physical controls where they put like a virtual D-pad and virtual buttons on it, you can actually stick like buttons on your thing, and when you press down on them, it makes contact with the screen. I'm thinking about slapping a couple of those on the back of my Vita for this game. Like that's how much I want to play this game.
Yeah, I'm just doing a Google search here real quick while we're talking. I don't see any specific ones. But yeah, I'm sure somebody has some listing on Amazon where it's like even labeled L2 and R2 and they just like poke the back touchscreen.
Yeah, and that'd be fantastic. I knew that there was a design on Reddit a while back on the Vita subreddit that was some dude making a case that would have that feature.
Oh,
and
nice.
he was gonna like kickstart it and stuff, but like when he put like his ideas up, it was pretty clear he had no sense for the business end of it.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is gonna be, unless someone picks this up and runs with it,
One
it's
of those
gonna
posts that's just titled like, "Would you guys be interested in this?"
And it was, and it made
Yeah.
it to a second post where he was like doing surveys and stuff, and like, hey, would you guys, how much would you pay for this? And he's like, this, I could get a prototype done, and it would cost this much, and it was like way out of whack for what it should.
Oh.
It was like $70.
Yeesh.
Yeah, and like if it had a battery pack, I'd be like, maybe,
Yeah.
but it didn't even have that, so
Yeah.
let's maybe not.
Yeah.
Like I'd pay like the most I think I'd pay for that would be like 40, and I'd pay 40 begrudgingly.
Yeah.
I would pay like 20 happily.
Yeah,
30
40
kinda
would
like,
sort of be like, all right, I do use remote play a lot. All right.
yeah, and it would be worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
I just remembered another game I played. I played a bunch of Mario Kart 8 this morning with my brother-in-law.
Oh.
My wife and I went over there to her sister's house for breakfast, and it was fantastic. Played a bunch of Mario Kart 8, got my butt handed to me. Because that's like his game. He sits on the couch with the Wii U thing, and my niece will just grab one of like the broken GameCube controller, like the decoy controllers he keeps around, because you don't want the real controllers.
No.
She's not destructive, but she'll just
Yeah.
she's 2.5.
Yeah, accidents happen.
Yeah. So played a bunch of that. I think the first round we did the which cup? The Flower Cup. And the second round we did was the Shell Cup. And I love the fact that they just incorporated all of these tracks from the classic Mario Kart games. And they're all really great. I love the little like tweaks to the mechanics they've made in this one. I like the and I haven't played a Mario Kart like heavily since 64, so these may have come along the way. But like the flying and like the hovering stuff, I've always liked the drifting in that game because it does actually give you an advantage. It doesn't just look cool.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing was I love the changes they made to the Toad's the Highway one from N64.
The one from 64, yeah.
That is a fantastic track.
Yeah, that's still really great. And it feels, you're right, they made some sort of tweak to it, and it feels even more interesting.
Well, the most interesting part about it is the trucks that are all along the highway that are just ramps that are moving in front of you, and then the fact that in certain sections the sides of like the walls of the highway hit one of those hover strips and just go along, and you get like 5 or 6 boosts right in a row.
Yeah.
You can really turn a game around with one of those. I couldn't personally, but like someone who is good at the game.
Yeah, someone unlike us who's good.
Yeah, someone who plays it more than like once every couple of months.
Yeah.
But it's just such a fun game.
Yeah.
I plan on making sure I go over there when he gets the DLC, because he's already pre-purchased it and everything.
Oh wow. He's
got like the icons like preload
right.
for it, and I was like, oh, the DLC's out, and I go down and pick the character, and all it does is open up an ad for the DLC that he already bought.
Wow.
I was like, that is dumb.
It's a little shady, but I gotta applaud it.
Yeah, but I like that it lists the new characters down there, because you can see like you've got Link and the different Marios they had down there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what they do with the different like Hyrule stuff. For Link's tracks. I think that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Is it just Link and his motorcycle, or is it also like some Hyrule courses and tracks?
I think it's some Hyrule courses and tracks. There's a whole cup that seems to have a Triforce logo associated with it. So
I gotta go get that, guys.
Yeah, yeah, that and Bayonetta 2. You gotta get yourself a Wii U.
I already have one.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting you actually have one.
Yeah.
It's Knobs that doesn't have the Wii U or the PS4.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of Darkness 2 while we were seeing if Knobs was going to make it on here. And, God, that game's fun.
Yeah.
Just demon arm. I'm going to shoot that guy. I'm going to pick up that guy. I'm going to take that guy I picked up and throw him at 3 other guys. And, oh, look, a train just mowed 4 guys down. This game's great. I like the Darkling in this one a lot more than the Darklings in the original, because the Darkling in this one actually has a personality, and he's gross and weird.
Yeah.
Like he's got like the Union Jack like tank top like basketball jersey on, which like the UK in basketball, I don't associate those two things at all ever. I could be completely wrong, but it's just such an interesting character, and he's so He's just so gross.
Yeah.
It's the only word for it.
Kind of as gross as you would expect him to be.
Yeah. I think Jay-Z just said, I'm much nicer to the darkness than I would expect, than he expects he will be. I don't know why. I'm a huge fan of the comic. I read the giant like trade that came out a couple years back after the game did. They republished everything, and that's just a great story. But the first game and the new one, the second one, is really just fun. It's just dumb fun with an okay story behind it. I sort of love being the bad guy in this one.
Yeah.
You know, and you're sort of the bad guy in general because you're the darkness. You know, he's this demonic thing that has taken over your body is not nice or good.
No,
or
not an anti-hero.
No, you are not. You're clearly like you're a little conflicted, but like you're clearly evil.
Yeah. I really wish those games would have clicked with me. I don't. I mean, I can recognize that they're good games. They're games of quality. I just don't. Nothing clicked with me at all. I mean, the intro for the first one was great.
Yeah.
You know, everything I've seen about the second looks fine, but every time I play it, I just don't want to be playing it at all ever. And I really wish I knew what caused that, because I'd like to get in. Everybody says, "Oh man, the Darkness 1 and especially Darkness 2 are great."
Yeah.
It's like steel wool on me, where I'm just like, "Oh, okay, get away." I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, maybe it's the shooting mechanics or something that feels off. I do. There's a little weirdness with the shooting, especially when you're dual wielding, because it's sort of hard to know where the bullets are going to end up. And then the controls of the demon arms, they're really interesting, but you sort of got to claw hand that controller because you got to be on all 4 shoulder buttons at once.
Yeah.
It's really just it's a really fun game if you can pick it up for cheap. That's the thing I would recommend. Like neither one of them's like a $60 game. They're both like $30 games.
Yeah.
If I had to put a price point on it. And the only other game I played this week was a butt ton of Diablo 3.
Yes.
I went from 58 to 70 Paragon level 6 this week.
Wow. You put in some hours.
I bumped it up. So I also bumped up the difficulty. I'm just below Torment now.
Okay.
The only reason I haven't moved up to Torment is because every time I encounter anything slightly stronger than a one of the purples or one of the elites it just wipes the floor with me, no matter what. And it takes me like 4 or 5 tries, and after I kill it, I have to town portal and repair because something is broken.
It's one of those things where you'll get that one piece of gear that's so overpowered, and you're like, haha, yes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, once I hit 60, I was like, okay, I'm going to make it 70 this week, because because it's the perfect remote play game.
Oh, yeah.
You can just play it and play it and play it and play it. No problems whatsoever. I did a little tweaking to my controls normally, so I play a barbarian as my main. I haven't tried any of the other classes yet, but I think I will once I finish Act 5.
Yeah.
So I went back in and I switched. Normally I had Earthquake on R1 and Rend on R2, so on the back touch panel, which wasn't bad. I would just Rend, you hit like maybe once or twice per fight, and it just sort of causes a bleed on all the surrounding enemies. But I switched that to R1 because I'm going to hit that a lot more than I'm going to hit Earthquake.
Yeah.
Like Earthquake, I'm going to hit when I'm in a situation there's a ton of enemies. I need to get them closer to me and do a ton of damage to them.
Yeah.
And it worked out well when I remembered that I had switched them, because I would constantly be going, okay, let's Rend. Oh, Earthquake. Crap. Oh, well, at least everything's dead.
Yeah. The other Jay-Z in chat says, I went to bed last night and Hannah was playing Diablo 3. I woke up this morning and Hannah was playing Diablo 3.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
That's been my week.
we had a crazy night on Friday. We were out until like 4 in the morning, and got up, played some Diablo. Last night we went to we hung out with some friends. Last night, got home kind of early-ish. Like we expected we'd be out longer than we were, and then we were just like, all right, well, let's just go to bed. And I didn't fall asleep till whatever time. It was like 12:30. I was like, all right, I'm dropping the Vita on my face. I need to put
Yeah.
this thing down. That's when you know you need to go to bed.
Yeah.
That's sort of my clue is when I go, ah, crap.
Oh, my face.
And I got up kind of early. It wasn't as early as I normally I'll wake up at like 4 in the morning and be like, oh no, I'm gonna keep sleeping. But it was like I woke up for the first time. It was like 7:20 ish. I was like, yeah, why not? I fell asleep at like 12:30. I'll get up. I got a good 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I played that. I literally up until I got in this room today, I was playing Diablo. I think,
And he could be playing right now.
I could be, but you'd hear a lot of clicking and clacking and swearing. So, that's pretty much my MO with Diablo. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm dead again. Of course I'm dead. Why wouldn't I be dead?
Yeah.
But I get so excited when I get a legendary weapon in that game. When
Yeah,
you
it's the
see
moment
that,
where you're like,
yes, it's gonna be so great.
I'm
And I
usually
really,
like pushing imps out of the way, like, no, there's a star on the map, get away.
yeah. The other thing I've noticed is so the legendary weapon. I tend to forget about my followers' gear a lot.
Oh, I do too.
Like he was using like a level 40 weapon and like a level 40 shield.
He's
'cause I
over
used
there in
the-
rags. You have like diamond gear on.
yeah.
Please,
So that was fun when I switched his up and it's like, oh, he's living a lot more now. He's not dying every 3 steps.
boy, he can help kill things now. Great.
Yeah, because I stick with the paladin sort of dude.
Oh yeah.
I'm interested to try the Crusader. I think that's probably the next character I'm going to spin up because I think
Yeah.
he's going to fit well with my playstyle. That and the monk, like those are the two. Like
I
I'm
like the
really,
monk a lot.
I like normally I'm all about ranged characters, but Diablo, like I don't feel like that's going to work for me.
Yeah.
I would love to play the Demon Hunter. I think if I ever play Diablo 3 on PC, I'll play Demon Hunter. I don't think it'll go well with this control style for me.
Oh, I think Demon Hunter works really well on PC or on consoles.
Yeah.
Because you basically, it's not really a twin stick shooter, but basically
Okay.
whichever direction you're aiming at, you're gonna
Yeah.
fire in that direction.
Okay.
So
I can see that.
it's a lot more straightforward than
Yeah.
it seems.
Cool. Yeah, I'm probably gonna try out each character and be like, okay, I like this about that character and that about this
Yeah.
character. But I could definitely see myself rolling like Barbarian Crusader.
Yeah, the only one I would really recommend is Witch Doctor.
Okay.
Whenever you start a Witch Doctor, really give it time, because at the
Yeah.
beginning you're sort of like, this is useless. But as
Yeah.
you start getting into like the 30s and 40s, then you really start getting some pretty great skills. And the best part about Diablo 3, and the part that I love so much, is once you've created one character, you have your blacksmith and everybody leveled up so high that basically you can just craft a way overpowered piece of gear. Like let's say you roll a Crusader, create a way overpowered mace for your Crusader. Go to the Enchantress, put a socket on it, and then throw
Yeah.
like a perfect, red jewel in it. And next
Yeah.
thing you know, you're just one-shotting everything on hard.
Because I am swimming in like Imperial and Marquis diamonds now. Like it's madness.
Yeah.
I once I clicked it up to whatever the difficulty is above Master. I think it's not
Expert?
I think it might be Expert.
Something
yeah,
like
once
that.
once I clicked it up to Expert, like the gem drops, like you don't get anything below tier 15.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. I started like I'm gonna put sockets on more of my items now that I've hit 70. I didn't want to I was so close to 70 that I didn't want to get myself bogged down in one single piece of equipment.
Right.
Because I knew I'd be upgrading a lot, as time went on. But once I get like a level 70 piece of gear in each slot, like as I get them, I'm gonna be like, okay, let's take it to the Enchantress. All right, let's get a slot in this thing. Let's put a red gem in there.
Yeah,
And let's
exactly.
go to town.
The other
and then-
Jay-Z in chat says, that console interface looks terrible, though. Hannah comments?
So my only comment on that is it's not great, but it's serviceable. It's not awful. It's not as good as it could be, probably.
Yeah, it works really well with a controller. I think if they would have made the same interface on the PC on the console, it would have been unusable. I mean,
Yeah.
for so many different ways. I mean, I mean, when you compare even the console version of the PC, you don't have to do that item Tetris like you do on the PC. Like it's just
Yeah.
here's these categories. You can only hold X number of items.
Yes, that's my favorite. I
Yeah.
never really liked that item Tetris like you have to play in Diablo 2. That always drove me nuts.
Yeah.
I was glad when they sort of did away with it for WoW.
Yeah.
And they were just like, okay, this you can only have this many slots in your bags, and you have a bank that you have slots in, and
Yeah. Everything takes up just one little block in these.
yes. The only complaint I really have about the interface for the console is I do wish it still had the two orbs in each corner, so like Fury over here, Health over here. But I don't think console players would have taken very well to that
How
for
do
health.
they do them? They're right next to each other?
So your health is just a bar right underneath.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
you've got it's like the whole interface is off on the left. You've got your follower is going to be up in this corner. I'm going to try and line it up on the video.
Yeah.
Their health bar will be here, and they have the orb down here, and then the two bars here, and underneath it lists all your skills.
Yeah.
But the problem is the health bar and the XP bar, and really that whole like bottom left hand corner is too small.
Yeah. And I feel
If
like
it were just a little bit bigger and maybe like transparent a little bit.
yeah, or at least let you scale the UI of that stuff.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'd have to check those
Yeah.
options.
I feel like that was probably a consideration for the 4-player couch co-op, where it's sort of
Yeah.
like, all right, everything's got to be in their 4 corners.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and if you had the whole bar, then and I agree. I think as weird as it sounds, I think you're right. I think the two orbs is kind of Diablo. That's the interface that everybody copies nowadays. When you make like a loot-driven third-person isometric hack and slash game, like you take, well, your health is over here, your blue orb is over there, and that stands for something, magic or whatever. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but like I said, console players are used to just a health bar.
Yeah.
They're going to see that health globe and be like, well, what is it, like shrink in all the way? Oh no, it just goes down vertically. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That's weird.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But my only complaint is that the display for like your cooldowns way too small. So I have to like draw focus from the main game to look at that.
Yeah.
Which I only have 2 skills that have a cooldown, so that might be a little different for other classes. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it because I know that like every 8 or 9 seconds, depending on my gear, I can charge through a bunch of enemies and freeze them in place.
Yeah.
And I know every minute I can drop an earthquake that's going to draw a bunch of enemies towards me, and I can just cleave them to death.
Well, and once you get to that level, you kind of get that sixth sense of like, once you've owned a car for a while, you kind of know what 35 miles per hour is and what it kind of feels like. I feel like with Diablo, you kind of get that sense where it's like, oh, my cooldown should be up now, or like you kind of get that internal clock of 35 seconds.
It's like when you're really heavy into WoW, like you do, and you just, and especially as a hunter, because that was my main for so long, you just know your shot rotation, you know when to hit that
you got
button.
your pacing down.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, aimed shot, Chimera Sting, and boom, done.
Yeah.
And when you need to really reach for something, a stun shot or whatever it was called, it's been so long. I don't want to get back into Diablo.
I just looked at patch notes for 6.2.0, I think it is, the one, and I was just like, oh, I wonder what they changed with hunters. Everything.
I saw some post on the WoW subreddit that was, you don't play the game anymore. It was, hey, a leaked picture of the new hunter mount, and it was just a bench. Because apparently the changes to hunters are so drastic that they may as well just...
Like, every shot is gone. Like,
and it's nice to know that ret pallies are still just getting crapped on constantly, because they're like, yeah, but at least you're not a ret pally.
Like, I haven't played that game in I don't know how many years, and that's still really funny.
Because they were, and if you remember, it was either the first expansion or the second expansion. I think it was right as Wrath of the Lich King was coming out. Mm-hmm. There was the patch between Wrath of the Lich King and Burning Crusade, or Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King,
Yeah.
that happened, and Ret Pallies were gods. They
For
were
like 2 months.
unstoppable. You like every time I saw one, I would just be like, "Nope, I'm out of
Gotta
here."
go.
Just getting, yeah, I gotta roll. And then they got nerfed so hard that they've never recovered.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Good
so
times.
great. And then hunters are like, oh, everyone hates hunters, but I love them.
Yeah, that was my main, and everyone hated me, but you know what?
Yep.
I was having a lot of fun, and I was good at my job.
Exactly. I was great at crowd control. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
um, Craven555 asks in chat, why are you playing Diablo 3 and not PSO2? I don't have the wherewithal to try and get PSO2 working on my Vita.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
I would love to play PSO2, and if you're making a joke about Destiny being PSO2,
It's
bravo.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure where you're going with that, but I
Yeah.
approve either way. I would love to play PSO2 if they ever bring it here. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing this week.
If anyone's wondering what that weird noise is, I let the cats in the room while I'm recording this time, and they have this cardboard scratching post thing, and our larger cat is going to town on it. All right, so speaking of Destiny, that's basically all I've played this week.
I've been itching to buy it. I don't know what it is. It's like between talking about it on here
Yeah.
and now listening to the Bombcast every week and listening to Brad and Jeff fight about it.
Yeah.
I just want to play it.
Well, Musim's trying to get a more regular raid group together, so you could buy it and level up to 26 and could bring you in. I don't know.
Paycheck though.
Yeah, I know. So I played a bunch. You know, the thing that I don't want to talk too much about Destiny because I really don't want to kind of beat this horse into the ground.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really like about it, I don't have a ton of time to play every day, so I like how Destiny is set up for their sort of daily stuff, a lot like WoW was, where I have a little bit of time, I can go in, I can pick up a couple daily quests, I can try and knock out as many as I can, and turn those in, trying to get some exotic bounties. I'm doing 2 at the same time right now.
Mm-hmm.
I get all of these small goals.
Yeah.
And for me, for Destiny, since I'm not playing that much per day, I don't feel burnt out on it like a lot of people do. Like if I was playing it, 8 to 10 hours a day, I would probably feel pretty burnt out on, the lack of variety, the lack of strikes, the lack of maps for multiplayer, or the lack of modes. But for me, it kind of fits my gameplay right now.
That's good.
So I'm still having a ton of fun with it. We did another raid, and I got to hold the relic this time, and I thought I did really well.
Yeah.
We had a really, really great run through the raid. I think it took us 2 hours to go through.
That's not bad. I was hearing it's starting to average about an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, if you really have your stuff down, you can probably do it faster than that. But we brought 2 new people in this time, Infinity Chicken and Gogs, both from the TVGP community.
Sweet.
And we, some of the fights are pretty complex, especially the deeper you get in. So we spent some time kind of educating them on how to do all that. So
that's cool.
I'm just still having a blast with Destiny. As much as it continues to get kind of crapped on everywhere, I don't really care. I'm having a blast. My PlayStation TV came in this week. First off, let me see if I can get it here in front of the camera.
Okay.
Got it right here.
All right.
And for size comparison,
Twitch.
here's my iPhone 5. So it is smaller and almost as thick as an iPhone 5.
Okay.
So this thing is really super cool. So for anybody listening, it's $100.
Okay.
Or if you spend $140, you get a DualShock 3, a USB cable, HDMI cable, and 8 gig memory stick. So this is literally a Vita without a screen. That's kind of a good and a bad thing. And the good thing is that It's this super tiny thing you can put everywhere and just plug it into whatever. And, I pulled my memory stick out of my Vita and I popped it in the PSTV, and it has all my stuff on it.
Oh, cool.
And it's just, you can move between the two and everything's fine.
That's awesome.
So, I had all my downloadable games. I had all my saves. Everything is super great. It actually has a surprisingly well hidden PS Vita port on it for the Vita memory, for the Vita cartridges for the games.
Cool.
So you can actually put those in there, and then you can play Vita games on your TV, which I have not yet done.
Okay.
I just plugged it into a monitor up here in the office to see how it works with remote play. The short answer is Sony puts a little piece of paper in it that says, hey, oh man, remote play. Doesn't that sound cool? Don't use it on wireless.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And I said, well, if you do use wireless, put both of them like close to each other. Don't put anything else on the wireless. You got some smartphones, you got some tablets. I don't want that business.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, well, if they're warning against it, let me try it. So put the PSTV here, put it on the wireless network, used remote play to turn the PS4 on. It does all the standard stuff it does.
Yeah.
And I fired up Destiny. Horrific.
I'm sure it was.
Just the worst. So I was like, all right, exit out of all that stuff. And speaking of exiting out stuff, on the Vita, you know how you peel stuff back to get rid of it?
Yeah.
On the PlayStation TV, you hold circle. And it very slowly starts to peel it and then peels it all off at once. Almost like you're peeling the plastic protective stuff off new computer stuff.
Oh,
it's pretty satisfying. So I plugged my I cannot plug my PS4 into the network. It's the other side of the house from the network. Yeah. But my wireless access point is right next to here, so I figured, well, I'll just run a Cat5 cable between the PS TV and my wireless router and get it on the network. And that helped a little bit. Yeah. But it's not... I've heard a lot of people having really good luck. PS TV puts out a maximum of 720p. So people saying they're having a lot of good luck at full 720p video when both the PS TV and the PS4 are hardwired. Which sounds reasonable. I mean, that's pretty much the best you're going to get. Yeah. So I spent a little bit of time, I fired up a PS1 game. I fired up Vagrant Story.
Nice. Good choice.
And it fully maps. I actually... So they give you the DualShock 3. I don't want to use that. DualShock 4 is way better. Yeah. So all I did was I synced my DualShock 4 to it, which worked. You just plug the USB cable in, you turn it on, and everything's good. And you're using your DualShock 4.
Can I get that for the Vita?
That would be really nice. The other Jay-Z in chat says, wait, PS4s have Ethernet ports? They actually do.
Yeah.
And for people, hidden. And for people that want to buy a PS TV, it only has HDMI. So it only has 4 ports on the back. Power, USB, HDMI, Ethernet. Cool. That's it. So I was really impressed that the PS1 emulator, and it sounds like the PSP one does something similar, it fully maps to the DualShock 4. Oh, cool. So you use all the shoulder buttons like you would normally. You use both sticks as soon as you turn on analog mode. It seems like for $100, if the games that you really love are available for PSP or PS1 digitally in the store, this seems like a pretty good classic game player. Yeah. And then as it goes for Vita games, you want to play Persona 4 Golden on your big TV. This is probably a pretty good solution, which is probably going to be the test I'm going to do later today.
Nice. I'd be interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, I've heard some of the games look pretty good. A lot of companies are working on patching in PSTV support for Vita games. I know Killzone Mercenary? Yeah. The Killzone Vita game, they patched in support with that. So basically it just works with controllers like you would want it to. Nice. There are a lot of games that don't, like Luminous doesn't, because they haven't updated it, because it uses the touchscreen in one instance. It's a lot of stuff like that where it's, And the part that I'm kind of concerned about is how many companies are going to go back and patch that support. Like Luminous,
Yeah.
if you patch PSTV support, people probably aren't going to buy a lot more copies of that. It
No.
would be nice,
It would be. It'd be
but
great.
and for most people, they're calling it the Pix the Cat player because it Pix the Cat works with it, and apparently that game's
Yeah.
great. I have not played it yet.
I saw the quick look for it, and it's
It looks
really
great.
interesting. I downloaded it, haven't touched it yet.
Yeah.
Too much Diablo.
So the PSTV seems really great. $100 I think is kind of the right price for it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is something, especially for people that don't have a Vita. I feel like this is probably a really good selling point of it because you can just play the games that you're interested in on the Vita on your
Okay.
TV. Unless they're things that really need the touchscreen. Like, there's never going to be a version of Tearaway that comes out for the PSTV. There's
No.
just buy the one for PS4 when it comes out. Like that's their solution. But PS1 games work really well. PSP games work really well. And things that don't need touchscreen work pretty well. And it has a PS Vita, cartridge slot. So, it kind of seems like the best of all worlds there.
It really does.
Yeah. So far I would recommend it. I have not spent a lot of time with it, admittedly. So, don't go out and buy one and be like, how dare you? It doesn't work with, Golden Abyss, whatever that Uncharted game was, because that also doesn't work either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not legally responsible for that. The only other game that I've been playing is my fiance and I started Borderlands the pre-sequel yesterday.
Okay.
Boy.
Yeah.
So I think this one statement can firmly place anybody that's listening into one of two camps.
Okay.
One camp should buy this game, one camp should not.
Mm-hmm.
And the statement is, this is more Borderlands 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm out.
Yeah. So either that gets you really excited, like, oh man, I just never got enough Borderlands 2. Or like most people that play Borderlands 2, you're okay for a little bit longer. Like,
Yeah,
not
I'm
that
okay
Borderlands 2
for...
was bad, and not like the pre-sequel is bad. It's just more Borderlands, and I feel like maybe it's a little soon.
Yeah, maybe.
It's so
I get that impression.
the intro is great, of course, and uses some sort of indie song and everybody's there, yay!
Yay.
And it goes through the beginning of the game, and it seems like it's basically after the events. So I've only played an hour, so I'm not spoiling anything for anybody.
Yeah.
Seems like it's after the events of Borderlands 2, and they capture Athena,
Ooh.
and she's one of the 4 playable characters. And she's retelling the story of what happened to these 4 characters in between Borderlands 1 and 2. In the very beginning of the game, you meet Jack, who is a low-level Hyperion programmer, and he has hired you to go find a vault on the moon. So, of course, it's all, I don't feel like Jack's writing is very strong at the beginning. For a lot of reasons that, because of how clean we keep the show, I can't say. But I don't feel like that writing is the strongest out of anything I've seen so far. I feel like the 4 characters are really interesting. I feel like one of the biggest things that Borderlands 3 can improve upon over anything in these other games is when you go to pick a character, tell me what they do. Like, I'm playing Claptrap, surprisingly.
Okay.
And his special, ability, his vault ability, or whatever it's called vaulthunter.exe. And when you go to pick the character, it says, well, here's Claptrap. He uses vaulthunter.exe. See you later. And it's like, well, great. What does that do? Like, I know what it had done, because Polygon put out this video that sort of had gone over the special skills of all 4 characters and all 3 of their trees.
Okay.
And I thought that was really really helpful, which would have been great if 2K would have done it.
Yeah.
because like you don't even get to see the skill tree before you pick a character. And because my fiance and I were playing co-op, we both created new characters at the same time. We had 2 minutes to choose, which is super weird because it was like, well, game starts in 2 minutes. Pick your 4 characters. And it's like, what? She picked Wilhelm, which has the 2, 1 healing and 1 attacking drone, which so far has seemed really cool. And I picked Claptrap because I like the randomness of vaulthunter.exe.
Yeah.
So for anybody listening that has not been educated by some other websites' videos about it, basically Claptrap picks a random skill from another Vault Hunter or maybe characters that you've run into in Borderlands games. So like one of them is the Fun Zerker, which is you get 2 guns and you can't stop firing. You're just firing all the time. But so do all of your party members. They only get their gun, but they're continually firing. So it's good, but it's kind of like all of his stuff are kind of 2 sides of this, like a double-edged sword, where it's sort of like, well, we're firing a lot and we're doing more damage, but now I'm totally out of ammo.
I like that because it's sort of like buggy software.
Yeah, it really is. Like it's pretty funny. And picking Claptrap was really, really great because I went to go pick him and the game was like, whoa, hey, we saw you were trying to pick Claptrap and we were sure that's probably a mistake, so we wanted to give you the option to go back and pick another character because it's Claptrap. And the default, they were like, do you want to go do that? And the default was yes. And when I picked no, it said, okay, we just want to really make sure. Are you sure you want Claptrap? And the default was no. And I was like, all right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So the humor is still there. I'm a little bit concerned about playing as Claptrap because your characters actually speak back to NPCs in the world now.
Okay.
So like if it's your characters and you're speaking to a person and they ask you a question, one of the characters in the party is going to respond to them, which I feel is a pretty great bonus over Borderlands 2 because it was basically the quips to everybody beforehand, or it's 2 NPCs talking to each other.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little improvements like that. The O2, the oxygen stuff, the Oz stuff, so far seems fine. I'm playing a robot, so I don't need to breathe air. So I accidentally skipped that whole thing.
Okay, because I have heard bad things about that.
It seems like so far that it's not going to be too much of a nuisance once you get your Oz kit. So basically like a rebreather that you're equipping.
Yeah.
Once you get a higher quantity Oz kit equipped, it seems like it's going to be fine. At the beginning, I think they do a really good job, a really bad job of explaining what you need to do before you get an Oz kit.
Yeah.
Because basically it gets really close to killing you before you get the Oz kit. And it seems like you're not supposed to be doing the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, okay.
So it seems fine. Running around with lower gravity is a lot of fun.
Okay.
Taking those huge jumps are great. You can do a butt stomp by just hitting crouch in the air.
Nice.
That seems really fun. But we played for about an hour and we kind of found ourselves doing other stuff because it's kind of more Borderlands 2. And that's fine. It's still a quality game. It's just, they just stopped doing DLC for Borderlands 2.
Yeah, it's too much of a good thing.
Yeah, like I understand why they did it, and I feel like we may be a little bit more excited if it was on PS4, even though that sounds really weird.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we'd be a lot more excited to play on the current gen consoles rather than on the 360. And the first question everyone asks me is, well, why are you playing on 360? We don't have 2 gaming PCs because money doesn't fall out of the sky. Well, as much as you can get a gaming PC for really cheap, getting 2 of them is,
that's a thing of
that's a thing of wealth.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of things going against it. It was probably the right call to not put it on PS4 and not go through the PS4 and Xbox One and not go through that development cycle. But it's kind of a hard sell, and I feel like for everybody I've talked to at work, we're like, oh, how's pre-sequel? And I was like, well, it's more Borderlands 2, and immediately they say the same thing you did, where it's like, well, I'll just skip it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll like skip it entirely or just like wait for. I'll probably wait for it to go on Steam sale.
Yeah, for like $10.
Yeah, I'll grab it then and be like, oh yeah, I never played that one. I should check that out.
Yeah, because I mean, as soon as you fire up the downloadable content in the 360 version, it has a season pass in it, and I'm sort of like, I can't do this again, guys. The cool thing I did really like, though, when we first fired it up, is it did the Ratchet and Clank thing where it found save games from Borderlands 1 and 2. And for playing Borderlands 1, we got like skins, heads, and some moonstones. Do not know what moonstones are. For playing 2, we got skins, heads, some weapons, and some moonstones. And then because it saw that we had played both of them, it gave us like double bonuses for some other stuff. Oh, and it gave us like 500 badass rank right out of the gate.
That's cool.
So we had like, I think it was like 15... 1100. My fiance says 1100. So we had like 15 or so badass tokens to redeem right at the beginning, which is awesome. The point where you want it, because that can make a considerable difference. Even so, having all of those at the beginning of the game was really hard. Do not know why. That was really weird. So the crazy thing about the pre-sequel is I don't need to sell it. Either you're super pumped about it, or you're sort of saying, well, maybe I'm good on this one.
Yeah.
But that's all I've been playing this week, so let's take a break.
Cool. Let me grab a drink. And be right back.
How's everyone in chat doing today? Is everybody doing okay? On this fine October day. Wish I could pick up this big cat to show you, but he's too big. Scuttle? Psst, psst, psst. Hey, come here. Do you want to be on TV? Well, good, because this isn't TV. It's the internet, baby. Alright, see you later. Page 2 on titles, jeez. That'll pad out this episode nicely. I'm doing okay. It's not humid anymore here in the San Diego, so I'm a much happier camper. Baby cat, come here. Psst, psst, psst. Do you want to be on the internet? Come here. Come here. Normally you just want to climb all over me. Nope, okay. Yeah, I don't even know what Knobs picked up this week. He texted me a little bit into... I'll read this text directly for you all. John Noblock texted me at 1:40 p.m. saying, yeah, none of this is going as planned. So, thinking good thoughts for Knobs. Yes, Toxic Joker. I did get a PSTV. We just stopped. We just finished talking about that. I should probably start unplugging this thing and getting it to. Think about getting it downstairs. Man, a 64 gig Vita card is still $100 on Amazon. Jeez. Just figuring out what Fantasy Life is here on. It's coming out on the 3DS this week. I really like reading the descriptions of what you need to do to unlock stuff in games I haven't been playing. Like Fantasy Life to unlock Origin Island, befriending both Yulia and Nolia, the latter which must reach level 45. It's like, is that a lot? Is that a ton of time? I don't even know. I still don't even know what this game is. Looking at it on Giant Bomb, looks like it's kind of like a Animal Crossing style game, which that could be okay. I was about to say, oh, it'd be nice to have Animal Crossing on 3DS. Duh. One of those days. Oh, man. Hannah get lost? What's going on here? Poor copy of Final Fantasy X for Vita. I don't think I'll be able to show it. No. This cat's been chewing on this case. There's a whole bunch of gouges in it now. Cat moved further away from me since I'm being too loud, apparently. Yeah, we haven't seen Cooper yet this episode. We are severely dog deficient. Does anybody know if The Walking Dead Season 1 on PS4 is any good? That's right, hashtag where my Cooper's at. Oh, I also purchased Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. I haven't started playing that though. Very excited to play that again. Oh, if anybody in chat has played Hyrule Warriors, is that good? Would anybody recommend it? I'm kind of curious about it. I'm just excited to play Sleeping Dogs again. If it looks better, then that's just icing on the cake. Boy, the delay must be really bad today. World famous Twitch delay. Toxic Joker asks, you enjoyed Dynasty Warriors? No, I'm kind of curious to play one of those games. There's so many people that love them, and I hear that they're really good. And I don't know where to start because there's about a bajillion of them. And I figured a Zelda-based Dynasty Warriors game might be a pretty good intro to that franchise.
Boy. Oh, sorry, I had to shake a clingy puppy.
Well, the chat had asked for a Cooper sighting, but we are
no,
dog deficient.
He's hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he gets in, he'll immediately want to go back out. I'll be up and down 4 times, so...
Yeah.
If I'm the only one here, he's fine. If my wife is here, he has to be within a certain range of her, or he starts to freak out.
Oh, man.
Because he loves her.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Like, if I'm sitting... So, like, I'll be sitting on the couch, and he'll be sitting in my lap, and the minute she's in the room, he's like, no, I'm done with you.
Yeah. Wow. All right, you ready to kick the second segment?
Yeah. Let's do this real quick. Let me make sure I've got this. All right. All right. So let's do this thing.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about U.S. releases for the week of October 20th, 2014. Fantasia Music Evolved for Xbox One and 360. Had no idea this was coming out.
I forgot it was a thing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are not the target market, but I thought that would have a little bit more fanfare around. Although I guess I don't really use my Xbox One in general.
Yeah.
So my fault. Samurai Warriors 4 for PS4 coming out.
That's a thing.
We were just talking about it. I was just chatting with the chat here about what would be a good introduction to the Samurai Warriors series, and maybe that's one of them. I don't know. The Legend of Korra for PC, PS4, PS3, Xbox One, and 360. The reason why I bring this up is because Platinum Games made this.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, that's really
Might have to play
weird.
that.
And apparently they have a Platinum Games difficulty in there. So, very curious to see what that game is going to turn out to be. Of all things, Shadow Warrior comes out on the PS4.
Is that what I think it is?
It's not the original, it's the new version, the one that everyone forgot about because it kind of didn't really flop, it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
No idea why that's coming out on the PS4.
Okay.
No one seemed to really enjoy that too much. The Walking Dead Season 2 comes out for PS3, PS4, and Vita. Kind of curious. I was just asking the chat if anyone knows if Season 1 was good on PS4, and I don't think anyone played that on that platform, so might have to pick that up at some point when that gets cheaper and replay that and play Season 2.
Yeah.
The game that I am actually really looking forward to playing, Scapegoat 2, comes out for the PS4.
Nice.
There's a good quick look of it on Giant Bomb. That's a really crazy looking puzzle game that I really need to play.
Nice.
Have not had the chance to do it yet. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse coming out for 3DS eShop. If I remember correctly, this is... So they took the Shantae kind of franchise and they put a Metroidvania around it.
Nice.
So that could be really good. Gonna wait for a little bit to see how reviews are of that. Um, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow comes out for the Wii U Virtual Console. It was supposed to come out last week, if I remember correctly, and got slipped to this week. You should still buy that. That game is still really great.
Yeah.
And then coming out on 10/24, we got a trio of games. Bayonetta 2 for the Wii U, finally coming out. Don't forget, this comes with a 1080p version of Bayonetta 1. So if you never played it or you only played it on PS3, this is probably a pretty good time to pick it up. Fantasy Life for the 3DS comes out. This is Level 5 in Brownie Brown's new game. I guess we didn't get the original Fantasy Life here, and this is kind of like the Fantasy Life International Edition.
Okay.
Seems a lot like, I was just looking up here before this segment, seems a lot like Animal Crossing, but with more of a storyline focus instead of a make-your-own-story focus. And last but certainly not least, Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth coming out for PC, OS X, and Linux on the 24th. So, goodbye to whatever free time you have. Now Civilization is in space. I apologize.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Boy. All right, we have no news stories because there's not a lot exciting going on.
Nothing happening.
Yeah, just games coming out.
Yep.
Many Derek's writes in here on Twitter. Many Derek. He says, "Is the hatred game and Gamergate misogyny comments a step back in our hobby? Freedom of speech or immature actions and violence?" We haven't really talked about Gamergate on the show
With
because
good reason.
It's been really confusing, and I think I think those who are behind Gamergate have lately made their positions very very strong. So I agreed with the initial inception of Gamergate, which was, hey, maybe games journalists and games journalism should be a little bit more transparent, a little more accountable. You know, let's try and follow more mainstream journalism practices. Or if you're just trying to have fun, you know, just writing about video games, that's fine too. But let's try and make both sides of this fence pretty clear.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what it has turned into recently has been harassment in whatever form has been possible. And turned into almost what you see in politics, which is like, well, you don't agree with me, so you're the worst, and we're just going to punish you.
Yeah, the whole situation is really, really dumb, and every time I try and figure out what it's about, I go, oh yeah, that's how it started, and I give up.
I think the core of the initial interesting part of Gamergate. So, you know, the Zoe Quinn stuff that happened before it was terrible and is disgusting. The stuff that's been happening lately is terrible and disgusting. And I think any sane, rational human would not condone these acts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that the core, now super tiny nugget of Gamergate that is interesting and could be conceived as good is, let's expect more out of games journalism and games coverage. I think that's fair.
But
don't be a monster to get your agenda taken care of.
Yes,
that's all that people are doing.
There's that, and then and remember, guys, this isn't politics.
Right.
You're not going to get transparency out of private corporations.
No.
You're just not.
Because they need to make money.
They need to make money. They need to maintain trade secrets, and unfortunately, that's just how it works.
Yep. That's why I work in the video game industry. That's why I have a very aggressive NDA on my job. Because I know a lot about a lot of games. And nobody wants that stuff out there. So,
and it's understandable to desire information, and especially in this day and age. And frankly, I would love for there be some sort of requirement every time a project fails. I would love to see just a massive postmortem made public about it, because that's so interesting.
Yeah.
And I want that. I really want that. But I mean, if there's honestly a group of people out there that wants to hold game journalists more accountable and game creators more accountable, just ditch Gamergate entirely.
Yeah.
Drop it. It's a dumb name, first off. And second
Yeah.
off, it is associated with so many horrible things.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to make a change, disassociate from that movement entirely, because
Yeah.
that movement's not going anywhere. It's got some really terrible people behind it. It's got some really awful things happening inside of it.
It's terrible people doing terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other Jay-Z in chat says, maybe let's not threaten women. Yeah, that's probably a good thing to live by for everything.
Yeah.
Let's not punish women for making games. Or, in a stranger case, let's not punish women for talking about games or being critical about anything. Let's not be douches anymore, okay? This is 2014. Everybody be cool. And for the people that are saying, like, oh, I just want to play games, you kind of can't do that when women are being harassed and threatened for talking about games.
Yeah.
That's not okay. So
Nope.
we can get back to playing games when people can stop being horrible, terrible monsters. So let's try to work on that first, maybe.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I think expecting so much transparency, and I think there was also some argument about the divide between game journalists and game makers, and there's some value there to a point.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, you're working in a hobby industry still, as far as the journalism is concerned.
Yeah.
You're not working. I mean, this isn't like entertainment journalism.
You're not on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, it's not political journalism. It's not capital. It's not, it's not entertainment. It is entertainment journalism, but not like the entertainment journalism we know. And I don't want to see it turn into that.
No, I don't want to see like Entertainment Tonight for video games. Like Video Games Tonight.
Yeah, and I don't want the people behind. I don't want producers becoming famous. I want the people that are actually doing the work on the game becoming famous, and the games themselves speaking for themselves.
Yeah, and
I don't want to make this an industry of people and personalities. And
we have enough personalities in the industry right now, and we're kind of okay.
Yeah,
I feel like there is a level of. I think transparency is the wrong word for a lot of these people to use. I think there's a level of, communication about certain things for games. Like, hey, this person is not going to review this game because they went to go see all the previews, or these people can't review these games because they're friends with the director of this game. That's fine. But, you don't always need to, you don't need to always disclose that a company sent this game to you for free. They probably did. Because that's what most reviewers get. So, Gamergate is a terrible thing by terrible people that had good intentions at the beginning, that has so spiraled so out of control into a horrible, disgusting, terrible place.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people are afraid to say that Gamergate people are terrible. They're terrible. I'm not afraid to call terrible people terrible people. So,
yeah, I mean, the people that are really, really in depth on it. I mean, I've seen a few people that are like, "Hey, this is interesting," and then just sort of back away. But the people that are really into it are just the standard terrible trolls of the internet.
Yeah, like political trolls.
It needs to stop.
Yeah, our industry doesn't need that. Our industry has enough trouble with. He mentions hatred. This game, I know a little bit about it from what I've seen kind of on Twitter. But apparently it's this hyper violent game that's has no real conceit around it. Just primarily like, go to this place, kill these cops. It seems very much like Jack Tretton the video game. It seems very much like Postal 3. It's violence for the sake of violence.
Yeah.
I just. Our industry has enough trouble with stuff like this. It's only a matter, now that enough people have said Hatred the game and a trailer is out there, it's going to be on Fox News in about 20 minutes. Our industry has enough trouble with people understanding what games are that we don't need somebody saying, yeah, but look at all these people, or like, these people are doing the wrong things with video games. It's like, let's not be terrible.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's a tall order, but and you know what? There's not a whole lot. We can just wait for the movement to peter out, and we can just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to do, is
Yeah.
pretty much just let it burn itself out.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to for a while until the recent Anita Sarkeesian stuff.
Yeah.
And like that just I think that was the last straw for me. Like I'm not, even if it doesn't go away, like we need to figure out something to do to stop these monsters from being monsters. So
Yep.
we'll let you know if we find something out, but at the very least we're gonna talk about it and say, yo, this stuff ain't cool. So
Yeah.
so about Hatred, I don't really have an opinion about it. It seems a lot like Postal, where it's just
Yeah.
shock for the sake of shock, with very little. It's like someone impersonating Marilyn Manson, but not getting it. Like if you're gonna have that shock, you have to have some sort of substance. That's why shock stuff stays around. You should probably be KMFDM instead of Hollywood Undead. Let's just put that.
You should probably be Alice Cooper instead of Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Angelo, what's his name here? Angelo Fiorin puts in a question that he actually asked in a longer form in email, so we'll move on to that in email. The other GZ tweets us, so now Spelunky is on PS4. Apparently the daily challenge has replays. You guys tried that out at all? No, but I'm going to go check that out because that sounds awesome, and
that does sound great.
That's one more thing I didn't know that I needed in Spelunky, but now I do. Apparently there's a helicopter right above my house.
Yeah, they're coming to get you, boss.
I know, I talked too much about Gamergate. They're coming in. All right, let's move over to tweets here. Angelo writes in and says, "Hi guys, I'm listening to the show for a long time, but I've not written an email to the show in a few years." Well, thank you. I'm at the point where I'm buying a new console since the great games are really starting to come out. I got a Wii U last year. It was a gift from Santa for my daughter and me. And now it's time to get either an Xbox One or a PS4. I tweeted to @TVGP wondering if I was crazy, but a few months ago I was certain I would be getting a PS4, but now I'm pretty much dead set on the Xbox One. So really? I'm not crazy, right? No.
No.
I mean, even if you were to say, like, I'm going to get a Wii U and none of the other ones, if you have enough games on there that you want to play and you're going to have fun with it, why do I care? Like, why does anyone care?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that you should be concerned about are you going to drop $400 on a console and probably, like $600 because you're probably like me and you're going to buy a whole crap ton of games at the same time. Are you going to have fun?
That's your only question.
Like, do you have enough games on there that are going to be fun for you to play? And, if you don't have both consoles, then yeah, you have a ton of, like, pick up Assassin's Creed 4. That game's great.
Yeah.
Pick up Destiny. Pick up the exclusive games that are on there, like
Sunset Overdrive that's coming out soon.
I'm so excited for Sunset Overdrive. Pick up Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah.
Pick up all this great stuff. This generation has a lot of really great games, and people can say, games look a little bit worse on the Xbox One. And if you put them side by side, sure, the Xbox One, the colors look a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? And a lot of people are like, oh, 900p frame rate over 1080. I don't care. If the game doesn't run markedly worse on the Xbox One, you're going to get the same game at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're not going to see a disparity like you saw with the PS3 versus the 360 this generation. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen.
No.
The disparity between those two systems was vast because you're talking about, was the 360 still PowerPC architecture?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so you're talking PowerPC architecture versus cell processor architecture.
Yeah.
Which neither one of those sounds fun to develop for, frankly. So you had this, you not only had a divide between 360 and PS3 last generation, you had a much wider divide between the consoles and the PC last generation.
Oh, yeah.
Because of those architecture differences. You're talking about having to develop for 3 different architectures across one single game, and it's a miracle games got made last generation for the PS3, frankly.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing how poorly Bethesda's games performed, and that speaks more to Bethesda than anything. Yeah. But the thing that came out of that was the revelation that of the way the PS3's memory architecture works.
Yeah.
That split down the middle. You only have 256 megs on each side, and you have to use this for this and this for that. And it was like, you have to use this for CPU cache, and you have to use this for GPU cache, and never the two shall meet.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's one of the things I was most excited about for this current gen is they're like, look, we're just going to x86. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's a freaking Intel processor in there. Call it a day. You know, like especially for developers, and especially for us as people who play games, that means we're gonna get more games, and the games that we're getting are gonna be easier to develop for. So, assumingly, they're going to be better at the end because you probably, if you don't already have tools, you know how to program for an x86 based processor.
Because everything is programming for an x86 based processor unless you're doing something specialized.
Yeah, so you just kind of get to work. You make your tools for the platforms, and you probably write a bunch of stuff in C++ and you call it a day. Yay, games! You know, like it's kind of like PC development. So
you don't have to sit there and go, okay, how does the cell processor work?
Yeah, I'm writing in what?
What is this thing?
Yeah. So no, you're not crazy.
No,
I think TVGP has said you are certifiably sane.
Yep.
Keep playing games, and buy Sunset Overdrive. That game looks great.
Yeah. And if you'd like me to talk you into a PS4, I'm also going to talk you into a Vita. So expand your budget.
Yeah, I mean that's really it's the House Hunters version of the show where it's like, well, if you gotta have this and you gotta have that house out back, you gotta. PS4 goes with a Vita. They're friends. You can't split them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The two were raised together. They'd be lonely by themselves.
They really are lonely by themselves.
It's a bonded pair.
Yeah.
Sam L writes in. I'm a huge fan of the show, and I had a few questions about these upcoming games. Thank you for listening. I heard about Claptrap's skill tree and immediately wanted to hear about your thoughts. I think his special move is awesome, and the whole high-fivey thing sounds really great when playing with buddies. Do you think this weird spin-off of a game will be worth it? I'm optimistic about it. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. I think for a lot of people that really love Borderlands, and especially really love the Borderlands story, I think this will probably be a really great game for them. I did forget to mention the Claptrap's high five skill. So at the bottom of the middle tree, I think it is, basically you can hold R, the right stick, to hold up your hand. And if someone comes over and they melee your hand, both of you get increased health regen, shield regen, and gun damage.
I did not know that.
For like a little bit, and it's because best friends forever. It's what it says in there. And if you're just left hanging for long enough, you get increased health regen and something to do with guns because screw you guys, is what the description says. So
nice. That's
kind of fun. I like that for a lot of the Claptrap stuff. It feels very Claptrappy. So I feel like that's okay, but we talked a lot about whether or not Borderlands is a game for you right now. There's only two paths on that flowchart. So, and
is Borderlands right for you? Ask your doctor today.
Yeah, and your doctor will say, no, you played too much Borderlands 2. He'll ask, did you get the season pass for Borderlands 2? And if you answer yes, then it's like, maybe it just, Borderlands 3 will come out. Just buy a PS4 now, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. Craven in chat asks, what's the price tag? 40. You know what?
60 bones.
If this were 40, I probably would have picked it up.
Yep. 60 bones, sir, with a $30 season pass that's available.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty rough.
Then I am just unselling a lot more people with the more I talk about it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is probably one of those games where if you have someone to play it with, which is why my fiance and I bought it at the beginning, it's probably a lot better as the Borderlands games are than if you were to play by yourself. You can get it on PC for about $30. You can find that Russian Steam key website, gamesforcomrades.ru, and you can get it for pretty cheap. But if it's a hard sell, I think Craven in chat says I can't think of it as big DLC. Then I mean it's another new game. They added a whole bunch of stuff, and it seems like it has the same level of content in Borderlands 1 and 2, which is a considerable amount of content.
Yeah.
It's just more Borderlands. And when Borderlands 2 came out, that was an exciting proposition. We're getting more Borderlands. Yeah. And now it's more Borderlands, and it's like, I think I'm okay.
Honestly, I'm more excited for the Telltale Borderlands games.
I think those will be pretty
Really
great.
am. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm waiting for the day Telltale can have parity across all the systems too. Just release an episode and it just works on everything day one.
And it's
That'd
not
be
the
really
console
nice.
versions are just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. He continues, I've been hearing a ton about Shadow Mordor. Is it worth my money? I know it's ridiculously fun, but it seems like another Assassin's Creed game. What is it? I actually heard an interesting rumor this week. I don't know if this is true or not. I should save that to make sure my NDA is in place. I legitimately don't know if this is true or not. Apparently, this was going to be a Batman game set in the Christopher Nolan universe.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that rumor for a while, but that makes a lot of sense because it's basically the Batman battle engine plus Assassin's Creed, but it's a lot more fun to traverse.
Yeah, it's so like the Assassin's Creed comparisons I understand. It's a little
Only when you climb, really.
Yeah, and you're not in like a big city. You're in like Mordor is not like a city state. It's just sort of ruins everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's more of just like sort of an open world action game than it is like an Assassin's Creed. Like you have a stealth mechanic, and there are like strongholds that are sort of city-ish, but they're not on the scale that Assassin's Creed is.
You're not going to France, Italy, and going around. Like it's. I think it's the landmass seems to be a really good size, but you're right. It's not going to be like. And now I'm suddenly in this city. Let's go buy something from a shop. It's like, no, everything has been destroyed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's really great. I think he said, I know it's ridiculously fun. I think if everything you've heard about it has told you that it's an interesting or exciting game, you should probably just go buy it.
Yeah, and if 60 is not your price point for it, maybe 40 is, maybe 30 is,
Find a used copy. There's nothing, the stuff that came with the first run of the game is like an outfit, and it's pretty cool looking, but it's not going to be the thing that's like, oh man, you gotta buy a new copy, it comes with all this stuff. It's not gonna be that. So it's pretty great. Lastly, have you guys heard of the game Roundabout? It's a hilarious game about a spinning limo driver, and it features real-life cutscenes with terrible voice acting. It sounds bad, but it's so cool. I really think it's worth your while. You should check it out. This is another Double Fine game. So
that's why.
Basically, it's a limo that is continually doing donuts, and it's a puzzle game to make sure you get through this street and pick up and drop off people while this thing is continually doing 360s. And they have like the traditional, like Twisted Pixel has tried to do, and semi-unsuccessfully, with their kind of homage to old 90s FMV games. So it's very much like, 90s FMV game voice acting. So crazy. But I haven't played it yet. I've been meaning to, but I haven't spent a lot of time with my PC lately, so I don't know what else it's out on besides PC. I feel like it's a game that'll come out on consoles eventually, but not right now. Last email here is from Duncan, which he labels, I'm hoping this is not offensive, not up with the kids, Muffin Shooter Duncan. Hopefully that's not some horrible sex act. Hey guys, I was recently Redditing while at work and came across interesting fan theories about games I love. Ooh. Hannah, you and I will find this very interesting.
Okay.
One that caught my interest was one I read about the twin snakes from the MGS series.
Ooh.
Since Hannah's been talking a lot about Metal Gear lately, I figured I might as well share what it was.
Okay.
So spoilers for MGS 1 and 2, in case anybody wants to play it. They're like 15 years old. So
yeah, that's like the last couple of weeks have just been spoilers for MGS 1 and 2.
The theory was that Twin Snakes was a VR simulation for Raiden before the events of MGS 2. I love it. This would explain the differences in Mei Ling's voice and some of the dialogue changes, as the individual creating the simulation was not involved in the Shadow Moses encounter. One thing that caught my eye was when he explained how above Rex's head when you first walk into the hangar is a blue diamond. This was found in the VR missions of Metal Gear, and to see if this was true, I popped in the Twin Snakes, and sure enough, it was there.
Really?
What are your thoughts? Also, what are some of your favorite fan theories and games? Thanks, love the podcast, and Knobs, I'll be on BF4 this week to get them tags.
We will pass that on for you.
That MGS theory, whether
That's
it's true or
great.
not, I love it. I mean,
That's what. Yeah.
it's so dumb, but it's that sort of thing where like you could get to the MGS2, the end of MGS2, and they'd sort of show that, and they'd be like, "But this was all a VR simulation." And it's just like, what? That was what? I think I'm some fan theories. I was talking about it with my fiance this morning. Some fan theories and some headcanon stuff reaches a little bit and can get a little crazy, but this is the one where it's crazy enough in a crazy universe that sure, I'll get behind it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally behind that one. Another one of my favorites is the idea that all the Mario characters are just actors. As like, so if you play Super Mario Brothers 3, it opens. There's a curtain. It's sort of like a stage. Yeah, and all like the backdrop objects are sort of like hung up and strung up like they're a set for play.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the reason this works is because you have all of these characters in all of these different games, and some games are cooperating, and some games they're not. And it's an interesting way to look at that universe. It's like they are not characters; they are actors playing characters, and they just happen to always dress the same.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't really get too much into fan theories. I can't think of any ones that are really great, except for maybe like the one in Final Fantasy VIII where most people consider that Squall died at the end of the first disc, and then the other two discs are basically just dreams. So I always found that one kind of interesting because I think that one's pretty plausible. But other than that, I can't think of any good ones that, other than like maybe he was dead all along. Did you see in the intro credits? It's no, thank you. I'm good. Go ahead.
There was one theory I saw. This was like a super crazy one, but there was someone trying to sort of merge the ideas behind Assassin's Creed with the ideas behind Metal Gear, and saying that like, oh well, maybe Abstergo made all the VR simulations, man.
That's reaching a little.
That's reaching a lot, but I love it.
Yeah,
I like that kind of dedication to a crazy theory.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for MGS5. Oh man.
Yeah. No! I just thought of another one. The weighted companion cubes in Portal are just. Oh, have you not heard this one? The weighted companion cubes in Portal are just boxes with people in them, dead people.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's a little morose for that game.
It's a little morose, but if you look at the clues and like, I'll send you a video after. It's phenomenal. Like the like little bits and pieces of dialogue that they put in there is really morbid and really bad, but it kind of works.
That's a little much.
It kind of works.
Yeah. All right, that's all the emails and tweets we have this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for sending your business in. If you want to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Email us at tvgpfans@gmail.com. Tweet us at tvgp. Everything else is on the right-hand side of the page. And don't forget, you can send us stuff like during the week. I just collate it during the week, so you don't have to send it on Sunday. Don't forget to mark yourselves on the map. Join the forums. We got a bunch of game nights. The big one is Monday night game night on Xbox One, BF4. Go get Knobs' tags. He won't even listen to this episode, so we could give you hot tips on how to get his tags. Just look for the sniper.
Get him. Yeah.
Yeah. Say something about bicyclists using real lanes, and I will just set him off completely.
I did not know that was a pet peeve.
Oh yeah, there was one episode where he just went off about it.
I think I may have been here for that.
Yeah, I know people in the forums are starting to get some stuff surrounding Wednesday night game night for PS4. Keep an eye if you want to do the PS4 Destiny raid. Musim's posting in there a little bit. We're trying to get a good crew going together to do it Saturday nights. And then Steam Game Night is on Thursdays. I know that that group has been having some problems. If you want to kind of revitalize it, that'd be great. Never had a ton of people on there, but always had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Over to you, Hannah.
The current TVGP Game Club game is The Darkness 2 with, of course, the bonus round of the original Darkness. It's pretty great. It's lots of fun. We talked about it earlier. We will be recording the recap for that the day before Halloween, sometime around, I think probably 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be, as usual, posting the forums if you want to join in on that, and feel free to discuss the game in the forums.
And you can watch this show live, twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We always really, really, really appreciate it.
Yep.
We will see you all next week.
Later.
I don't have any titles.
I have two, and really one of them is like okay, and the second one is absolutely my favorite, and I feel like it has to be the title.
Oh boy. Okay.
I got to hold the relic just the way you said.
I got to hold the relic.
I got to hold the relic.
I was so excited, man. Now I know how to use the relic, and for the raid, that's kind of a big thing.
And game4comrades.ru. Game the number 4 comrades with a K. .ru.
Game4comrades.ru.
And then the other Jay-Z sent me a bunch of titles, but I loved that one. It's the only other title I wrote down.
I'm just gonna circle that.
All right, we're gonna read the titles. If there's a couple of good ones.
Okay,
there.
Yeah, let's cherry pick some of those ones.
Working all the hours, a call from the Colonel, some sort of X-Men thing, the accent of Ratbag. I can't actually play this thing. No sense for the business end. 2.5 years of destruction. It doesn't just look cool. Lynx tracks, LYNX. The Triforce Cup. As gross as you'd expect. Earthquake on R1. At least everything's dead. Clicking, clacking, and swearing. Swimming in Imperial Diamonds. Let's get a slot in this thing. Item Tetris. Magic or whatever. Dropping earthquakes. Cleave 'em to death. Our larger cat. The lack of strikes. A Vita without a screen. A super tiny thing you can put everywhere. Everything's super great. Don't use it on wireless. Mercenary? You don't know Handsome Jack. Tell me what they do. You can't stop firing. Butt stomping. Money doesn't fall out of the sky. Kind of a hard sell. Skins, heads, and some moonstones. 2014. I don't know why it's spelled that way. TWUN. Fantasy Life International. Terrible and disgusting. Video games tonight. Let's not be terrible. Impersonating Marilyn Manson. You should probably be KMFDM. It's a miracle games got made. Write stuff in C++ and call it a day. Meleeing your hand. Ask your doctor if Borderlands is right for you. And of course, games4comrades.ru. Mordor is not a city-state.
That's technically true.
Dream discs, and yeah, I think that's the end of it. Wow,
oh, man.
Anything stand out?
Ask your doctor if Borderlands is right for you is
pretty awesome.
Is pretty great.
It's pretty long though.
Yeah, I mean, gameforcomrades.ru is a lot more punchy, but that Borderlands one is really good.
I think we might have to do the Borderlands one.
Yeah, on any other week, I think that would win. But actually, let me look at gameforcomrades.ru.
Yeah,
Is this just like the worst website?
Yeah.
Not found. All right.
Hey, cool. 404.
Good times.
God, I feel like Ask Your Doctor if Borderlands is right for you might be the winner here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Gameforcomrades.ru. Cool.
We might have to register that, though.
I might be doing that right now.
Now, you're doing games or Game for Comrades?
Game for Comrades.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, boy. GoDaddy really just changed their website completely.
Hooray!
All right. Yeah, let's do Ask Your Doctor.
All right, cool.
I'm not even going to write it down.
Yep.
All right. Let's start in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 365 for October 20th, 2014. Ask your doctor if Borderlands is right for you.
Side effects may include loot and guns.
Good times.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. These 57 then Ryu writes in chat, where's the database of quotes? Just at the end of every episode. Nothing formal.
Not yet.
If
someone wants to do that, do an episode a day for a year and you'll get all of them.
There you go. Now we have an episode a day for a year, actually. This is episode 365. Yay,
it
us.
is.
Woo!
Hooray!
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you all next week. Peace.
Laters.